Famous people who passed away in 1806. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Lin McIntosh. He was born in March 1725 and he died in February 1806. His age was 80 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish-American soldier who played a key role in the American Revolution. He was also known for his command during the siege of Savannah and his later involvement in Georgia politics. Horatio Gates. He was born in July 1725 and he died in April 1806. His age was 78 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British-American general best known for his victory over British forces at the Battle of Saratoga during the American Revolutionary War, a turning point in the conflict. Charles Dickinson. He was born in December 1780 and he died in May 1806. His age was 25 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was gunshot wound. He was an American lawyer and famous duelist who was fatally shot by the future United States President Andrew Jackson in a duel, a confrontation that became part of Jackson's larger-than-life reputation. Benjamin Banneker. He was born in November 1731 and he died in October 1806. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was chronic alcoholism. He was an African-American scientist and almanac author known for his work in astronomy and mathematics. He was also involved in the survey of Washington, D.C., and his almanacs were widely respected. Henry Knox. He was born in July 1750 and he died in October 1806. His age was 56 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was infection. He was a senior military officer during the American Revolution and later the first United States Secretary of War. He was instrumental in developing early American military strategy and policies. William Pitt the Younger. He was born in May 1759 and he died in January 1806. His age was 46 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was ulcer. He was the youngest ever Prime Minister of Britain, serving during a critical period in Napoleonic Wars. His reforms strengthened the British government and military. Mungo Park. He was born in September 1771 and he died in 1806. His age was 35 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was drowning. He was a Scottish explorer known for his expeditions in West Africa, particularly his exploration of the Niger River. He disappeared and is presumed to have drowned during his final expedition. Elizabeth Carter. She was born in December 1717 and she died in February 1806. Her age was 88 at the time of her death, and she died after a long illness. She was a British intellectual and writer known for her translations of Greek texts, particularly Epictetus' works. She was a member of Blue Stocking Circle, advocating for women's education. David Dale. He was born in January 1739 and he died in March 1806. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish industrialist and philanthropist, best known for founding Model Industrial Community at New Lennox. His work in labor reform and education had a lasting impact on society. George Pinto. He was born in September 1785 and he died in March 1806. His age was 20 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was tuberculosis. He was a British composer and violinist whose promising career was tragically cut short by illness. His classical compositions are celebrated for their innovation and emotional depth. John Campbell, 5th Duke of Argyll. He was born in June 1723 and he died in May 1806. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish nobleman who served as a British Army officer and politician. He held various important military and political positions throughout his life. George Stubbs. He was born in August 1724 and he died in July 1806. His age was 81 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English painter, best known for his detailed depiction of horses and other animals. His works combined scientific accuracy with artistic expression, making him a pioneer in the genre. Charles James Fox. He was born in January 1749 and he died in September 1806. His age was 57 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was dropsy. He was a prominent British politician known for his advocacy of civil liberties and his opposition to King George III. He played a key role in advocating for parliamentary reform and abolitionism. Thomas Sheridan. He was born in 1751 and he died in October 1806. His age was 55 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British furniture designer and cabinet maker whose designs in the late 18th century became iconic in English neoclassical furniture, particularly through his influential publications. Roger Newdigate. He was born in May 1719 and he died in November 1806. His age was 87 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English politician and scholar, best known for founding the Newdigate Prize for Poetry at Oxford University. His legacy is associated with encouragement of literary talent. Charles Lennox, 3rd Duke of Richmond. He was born in February 1735 and he died in December 1806. His age was 71 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British nobleman who served as British Army officer and Governor-General of British North America. He was also known for his progressive views on politics and military reform. Louis Ferdinand of Prussia. He was born in November 1772 and he died in October 1806. His age was 33 at the time of his death, and he was killed in a battle. He was a Prussian prince and military officer who died in battle during Napoleonic Wars. He was also known for his valor and leadership, as well as his opposition to French dominance. Nicolae ADM. He was born in October 1734 and he died in February 1806. His age was 71 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French novelist known for his semi-autobiographical works. His novels often explored themes of rural life, love, and morality. Therese Concordia Manac. She was born in 1725 and she died in April 1806. Her age was 81 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a German painter renowned for her portraits and religious paintings. She was sister of the famous artist Anton Raphael Mengs, and her work contributed to the neoclassical style. Pierre-Charles Villeneuve. He was born in December 1763 and he died in April 1806. His age was 42 at the time of his death, and he took his own life. He was a French admiral best known for commanding French fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar. His defeat by Admiral Nelson was a pivotal movement in the Napoleonic Wars. Johann Alizar Isaac. He was born in November 1737 and he died in August 1806. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German painter and lithographer known for his contributions to the Rococo art movement. His works included portraits, allegories, and historical scenes. Heinrich Christian Boy. He was born in July 1744 and he died in March 1806. His age was 61 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German poet and editor who co-founded influential literary magazine Göttinger Musim. His work was important to the development of the German Romantic literature. Jean-Honoré Renov. He was born in April 1732 and he died in August 1806. His age was 74 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French painter famous for his Rococo style works, particularly his playful and romantic depictions of aristocratic life. His art exemplified the lightness and elegance of the era. Antoine Jacques Boso. He was born in April 1723 and he died in June 1806. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French zoologist and philosopher who contributed greatly to the taxonomy of birds and mammals. His scientific classification work laid the foundation for modern zoology. Jean-Henri Renov. He was born in July 1734 and he died in January 1806. His age was 71 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French cabinet maker known for crafting luxurious furniture for Louis XVI. His intricate design and craftsmanship epitomized the French neoclassical style. Charles-Auguste de Coulomb. He was born in June 1736 and he died in August 1806. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French physicist, best known for Coulomb's law, which described the forces between two electric charges. His work was foundational in the field of electromagnetism. Louis Jean-Baptiste Taret. He was born in December 1733 and he died in September 1806. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French lawyer and politician who played a key role during the French Revolution, particularly in legal reforms. He was a member of National Assembly and an advocate for constitutional law. Louis Dunière. He was born in May 1723 and he died in May 1806. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French businessman and political figure in Lower Canada. He was named a captain in the local militia in 1775 and took part in the defense of the town against America. Like others in the colony, he lobbied the British authorities for representative government. In 1792, he was elected to the first Parliament of Lower Canada. Robert Gray. He was born in May 1755 and he died in July 1806. His age was 51 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was yellow fever. He was an American sea captain and explorer, best known for being the first American to circumnavigate the globe. His exploration to the Pacific Northwest was instrumental in early American territorial claims. John Graves Simco. He was born in February 1752 and he died in October 1806. His age was 54 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British Army officer and colonial administrator who became the first Lieutenant Governor of Upper Canada. He is credited with laying the foundation for the province of Ontario. Deborah Cotman. She was born in 1725 and she died in December 1806. Her age was 81 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a Canadian poet and teacher whose literary works represent some of the earliest Canadian poetry. She was also known for her contributions to education in early colonial Canada. Frederick Vonbler. He was born in January 1760 and he died in May 1806. His age was 46 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Danish chamberlain, army officer, and commander of the Royal House Guards. Ernst Burmeister. He was born in 1734 and he died in June 1806. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German-Danish architect and master carpenter. He made a significant contribution to the rebuilding of Copenhagen in the years after the Copenhagen fire in 1795. He was the father of master builder Andreas Burmeister. Already, he was born in 1743 and he died in 1806. His age was 63 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Norwegian violinist, and he became the first paid musician of Bergen's Musikselskabet Harmonien in 1783, serving as concertmaster of orchestra, which later became Bergen Philharmonic Orchestra. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.